Hey guys, Jason here with a TCG accessory video. Today I am going to be sharing with you one of my favorite accessories, which is this TCG carrying case. It's basically a plastic lunchbox that has compartments to store your cards. I think this is a very elegant solution to card storage, to be honest. Now, I have been aware of these for quite some time. When I was a lot younger, I thought they were kind of lame because I was all about that deck box life. But then as I grew older, I gained access to a higher disposable income and started buying more cards. And then I realized I needed a better way to store all my cards together. I think this is a really good solution, especially for people who have cards that are intended to be used together. So for example, if you are building decks for a self-contained format, this is an amazing solution for you. This is a product that I am not even new to because I already have one. As you can see, this is a Pokemon themed one from the official Pokemon Center in Japan. It's very heavy because it is filled with all of my decks. So I built an old Pokemon Gauntlet and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 decks. This is from Legacy format. That is all of the Heart, Gold, Soul, Silver sets through to the Black and White sets. Now, the reason that I am bringing this up and I am showing you my Pokemon cards is because I want to give you an idea of what the storage solution looks like. Now, with these half-size deck boxes, you are able to store 3 of them in this container, which does not have any pockets or walls. Now, these are, I think they're not so common these days, and one thing that I find very interesting about this is that they can actually fit into these small pockets that, normally only contain the decks. So that's very interesting. For the more standard sized deck boxes, so these are the bigger ones that they currently sell at the Pokemon Center. They have been doing that for quite some time. They haven't done these small ones in quite a while. Well, you can fit 2 of them in that compartment. I think another point of comparison is the Ultimate Guard 80 card deck box, or those ones that store up to 80 sleeved cards. It's not just Ultimate Guard that makes them. I think you know what I'm talking about. Those square-ish, but not quite square, still kind of rectangular boxes. Yeah, you can probably fit just 2 in them. Now, let's also take a look at some other options. So these are just the generic Dragon Shield boxes that the sleeves come in. I sometimes keep them when I run out of deck boxes so I can put decks in them. You can only store up to 2. I guess you can put some loose cards in here or dice or something like that. I guess if you have a dice case, that's something that you can put in there. I do have one for Pokemon, but I don't know where it is at the moment. But it's quite similar to like this thing in size, so you can just chuck it in there. Now, what else? We've also got some Ultra Pro deck boxes. So these are some very basic ones. They are a little bit taller than the Japanese deck boxes that I've been using, but I think they won't slide in as easily, but if you just push them a little bit, they should go in. Now, in saying that, it's a pretty tight fit. There you go. Okay, so it was able to fall out. Alright, and as I picked this thing up, I also realized that one of the hinges detached, but no biggie, just like that. It is very fixable. I guess this makes me realize these things are probably not very shock-proof, but I suppose you shouldn't really be throwing these things around anyway. But yeah, so you can probably fit 2 Ultra Pro deck boxes in here, and some space for other stuff. I really like this. In fact, this is a product so nice that I bought it thrice. Here are the 2 others that I bought from Amazon Japan. All up, one of these costed around 2,000 yen, and on the listing, you have the option to buy 2 at a time or just 1. And obviously, if you buy the set of 2, you get a small discount relative to buying 2 single ones separately. These are around 2,000 yen. Shipping to the Philippines was through DHL. I didn't really have the option to choose, and that costed around 3,000 yen. So considering these all costed a little bit upwards of 2,000 yen each, that brings my total to a little over 6,000 for the carrying cases, plus 3,000 for shipping. It ended up costing me a little under 10,000 yen. And then for just these alone, well, I mean, I assume they're like 15 bucks, something like that. Very nice. Now, we can start talking about how I want to store the cards. And also, this is a Duel Masters themed channel, so I suppose you guys will not be very happy only looking at Pokemon stuff. This is what you came for, Duel Masters. So yeah, here's a demo of the storage solution. I'm putting these different decks into the pockets. And one thing that I've realized is that it's quite different, because with Pokemon, you have 60 card decks, and I'm sure other games also have 60 card decks. So if you play those, you know, this is your reference. But Duel Masters only plays with 40 cards, or 50 cards even, if you are not playing a restricted rule set, or you're playing with a hyperspatial zone, I don't know. And so I think it's pretty cool that you are actually able to fit your deck in the pocket, and then all of the random add-ons, right? Like the cards that you were considering playing with it, the extra sleeves, yeah, they can all go in here, and it all fits in very neatly. I thought that was a downside because, you know, when you use a deck box as your storage solution, you know, there's a lot of space in a deck box. You got your little divider in it, and then you got your deck, and then you got your spare cards. I know this isn't a deck, this is all spare cards, but you see what I'm saying. And that was actually one of my original hesitations with changing our storage solution. And then before I bought this, I was thinking, well, we can store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 decks in here. Maybe I can dedicate one of these pockets to all of the spare cards for the decks in the box, and then that's 9 decks. And with the Gauntlet, we have 25 standalone decks. You know, if you count our deck profiles, throughout seasons 1 to 3, we had 30 deck profiles, but then when you consider half of the 10 deck profiles we did in season 3 were just modifications to existing decks, well, that's 25 standalone decks, right? So for example, in this pocket, you could have like your mono water, you got your 40 cards, and then you got like your extras that turn it into the Pacific Champion Rush deck, and then yeah, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm rambling a bit, and because, well, honestly, some of this is new to me. I just realized I have more space than I thought I did. Now, let's also test how many Duel Masters decks can this large pocket without any borders or dividers store. So we've got 1... Oh, there you go. So I mean, that's an inherent problem also. That's also why I prefer the cards to have their own separate pockets, or I think like when I end up using this for Duel Masters, I'll probably like have deck boxes in here so that the cards don't slide too much. Because one of my good friends, Jackie, he had one of these when we were playing Pokemon Sword and Shield standard format. We did a lot of Gauntlet testing, so he had all of the standard format decks in this one box, and he would just like bring it out when we test. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of annoying, like having to pull out a deck, and yeah, and all the other cards would slide, and you would have to fix the others eventually. As I say that, I realize that sounds like such a minor problem, but you know, I'm all about that efficiency, right? So from the looks of it, we can store up to 5 sleeved 40-card decks in here, but honestly, I would rather not, especially because it's a bit of a tight, well, it's not that tight of a fit, but I feel like throughout the course of usage, if you try to fit stuff in here, it's very likely that you may end up bending one of the cards from the other decks. And then, you know, as we pull decks out, it's entirely possible that some may slide. It's actually cooperating very well right now, but, you know, sometimes, like, oh, I guess when you have fewer decks, you know, they slide. You know, the last, yeah. So, yeah. I think an interesting solution here may be to like have one. I mean, you have 2 decks in here, and then you can like put a deck. Okay, so that not really working right now. But you can have like a deck box in the middle. Maybe this is like the spares. You got dice, something like that. And then, you know, you store it like this. And then so that way, when you're playing and you're removing the decks, you have this substantial weight to stop the other cards from falling over. Yeah, clearly I have put too much thought into this. But this is a TCG channel. What did you expect? All right, so I think that covers all of the important points. Most of them at the very least. I think that's all of them. So we've talked about price. We've talked about somewhat talked about quality. I mean, actually, no, we haven't really talked about quality, but I mean, these are plastic boxes, right? They're not particularly high quality, I don't think. They're not low quality. I mean, don't expect too much. Don't expect like industrial grade steel. The locking mechanism at the top does feel pretty secure. So I'm like pretty violently shaking it, and I don't feel like it's gonna break open. But with the shockproofness, well, I think that is a bit questionable. Another thing to consider is that these are quite heavy. I know I can't really convey weight given the kind of video that I'm doing, but you'll have to believe me. I mean, there's just like a lot of cards, and I feel like because cards tend to be densely packed when you make decks, they end up being pretty heavy. And I mean, if you think about it, if you're storing like 10 decks or 9 decks, that's like 300 to 400 fully sleeved cards. But that brings me to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys learned something new. Let me know in the comments if you are now interested in buying one of these, or if you currently use one of them already. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.